MSP Cult Leader Geoffrey Noble says firing Michael Proctor was a righteous decision, which happens to be what my brother also said about his first time smoking a joint out of a hollowed out Bible in college. Meanwhile, in the sweat glands of Florida, murder for hire matriarch Donna Adelson may have been offered a plea deal, a trade in her daughter Wendi for the new iPhone 16, or rather, for time served. This and more in today's video. Hello, and welcome back, roommates, to another titillating edition of Alexasrewm, where we are not lawyers, we are not medical professionals, and we are not law enforcement. We are just people who have opinions about all things going on in the true crime community, including this exclusive featuring Captain Righteous, Geoffrey Noble, the man himself, brought to you in part by the Boston Herald. The head of the Massachusetts State Police says firing Michael Proctor was a righteous decision, man, and that he doesn't expect the former trooper's appeal to the Civil Service Commission to succeed. Because as we know, Chip is back on the prowl and thirsting for his job back. I'm very confident in the fact that we had a process here within the Massachusetts State Police, he said, and that through that process, when we ultimately gave the order to separate Trooper Proctor from service, I felt that that was certainly a righteous, decision, and certainly in the best interest of the Commonwealth and the Mass State Police. I mean, talk about giving yourself a pat on the back there. A righteous decision. Which is exactly what the Duggars called having their 19th child. Just kidding. It's actually what Josh called, "It's time to clear my browser history." But fear not, folks. While Bear may be temporarily off his leash and back on the prowl to get his job back, he's actually got a few other prospects in the pipeline. Again, shout out to Dr. Turtleboy or Turtleboy Live on all social media platforms, including our favorite, the YouTubes. I will include the link to this full interview clip in my description box again below if you want to watch it in full.
Maybe you can answer, has Mr. Proctor obtained employment since being terminated by the state police?
He's gonna go to communication school.
Oh, that's good. Never too late.
You know, my dad and my sister actually have a degree, I believe, in communications, which is as useful as a condom in Nick Cannon's wallet. No, but seriously, he actually did put it to good use. He worked as the director of communications for one of the largest nonprofit organizations in the world for many, many decades, until he got laid off a few years ago. And now he's working concessions next to a 19-year-old who vapes through his hoodie sleeve and thinks Citizen Kane is a Marvel movie. But hey, at least he gets to see the pictures. I agree with Turtleboy. I actually think that Chip going back to school and pursuing something totally different than being a law enforcement officer is probably the right path for him at this point. And he's right, it's never too late. I'm a big believer in higher education, traditional and non-traditional, because I don't have a degree, so I am the last one to speak on this topic. Instead, I spent 6 years of my life grinding to Sweet Caroline at a club that also doubled as a VFW on Thursdays. Life choices, man. But hey, at least he gets to see the pictures. Speaking of making questionable deals in poorly lit backrooms, could Medicare Manson be getting a plea deal? Well, according to Surviving the Survivor podcast, maybe? So this broke on Tuesday and was first reported by Surviving the Survivor podcast, who's been very closely following the Adelson saga. I highly recommend checking out their coverage on all things Adelson. So they go on to say, Tally criminal defense attorney Tim Jansen, who is fantastic, by the way, tells STS during a live show that Donna Adelson was offered a plea deal. time served in exchange for daughter Wendi, and Donna reportedly declined the offer.
I wanted to break this. This is something I just heard from a very good source.
Hmm.
Donna was offered a plea deal of time served if she gave up Wendi,
Whoa.
and she turned it down. And this is inside the courthouse. She was offered, someone said, maybe give her a deal. They said, no. She was offered time served if she would give Wendi, because of her age. She turned it down.
Unreal.
Which is actually really surprising to me to hear if this in fact is true, because Wendi, as far as I know, since I've been following this case pretty loosely since I've been focused on Karen Reed, is Wendi doesn't want anything to do with her mom or her brother. Like, she's pretty much cut off all contact with all members of her family and has been living a pretty quiet and isolated life, living in fear of when the next shoe may drop. So that said, I could understand why she may potentially turn down a deal like this, because it might implicate Charlie more, even though he's already been convicted, as well as her husband, Harvey, right? Who also hasn't been indicted or charged with anything. So, and also I've seen a couple of people bring up a good point, Trial Channel specifically, saying, you know, also thinking about the kids, right? Wendi has custody of those kids. So if Wendi does end up getting nicked, those kids are going to Grandma and Grandpa Markel, most likely, which Donna would absolutely hate the idea of if you've been following this case. Now, since then, apparently, SCS has reached out to Donna's attorney, Josh Zellman. She used to be represented by the same attorney that Charlie was. I forget exactly what had happened, but due to, I think, Charlie not waiving conflict because Daniel Roshbaum used to be his attorney, the trial ended up getting continued until this year, and she had to seek new counsel. So she's been through a couple of attorneys, just like I'm sure she's been through those honey buns in prison. From Attorney Zellman, I can also confirm that no firm offer was ever made by the state, which leads me to believe that it's very possible a deal could be floating around, or had floated around at one point or another, but was never officially presented to Donna. That said, even if a deal was formally made to Donna and she turned it down, I'm fairly certain they wouldn't publicize that, right? Because again, the trial's coming up in less than 2 weeks. Jury selection's going to begin. I believe that the defense has been trying to request a change of venue, but I don't think that's going to end up happening, if it was already denied or not. So if you're Zellman, you don't want any publicity right now around your client, right? You want to keep the media sharks at bay as much as possible. You're going to want to swat it down like a meth pipe at a baby shower in Mastic. And this is from her arrest video. This is the look of a woman who thinks money laundering actually requires the same fluff and fold service that Harvey's delicates do.
My husband's almost 80 years old. He can't
Yeah, I
come with
can't.
me?
Please, can I? No, you can't join me there. Oh, don't do this, please.
Please.
Oh,
Someone's
God.
got to help him get home. This is terrible.
God, don't you people believe in elders' rights? I might have to do like a video breakdown of that body cam arrest video. That was when she was trying to flee to Vietnam. So with that being said, if you enjoyed today's content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you do not miss the next video from me. And make sure you hit that like button, because that tells the YouTube algorithm that this is newsworthy news. And it might be satirical. It might be a comedic twist on the news of the true crime community, but it's important, and it's important that we continue to have these kinds of conversations, no matter how upsetting they can sometimes be. And this is why I like to add a little bit of light to the darkness, so that we can all continue to fight for what we believe in, and that's truth and that's justice. And if you're down with that, I'm down with you. So thanks so much for watching, and until then.
Arma, minik, tota, te, tatamika, mineha, arta,